Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money, with your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 539 of Screw the Commute podcast. We're talking to Steven Greene today. He's the podcast host of Make the Grade, and he's got lots of stuff to do with education, and you've heard me ragging on education, so I'm sure we'll have a good, robust conversation about what's going on in that field, and he's got some great courses we'll tell you about. So hope you didn't miss episode 538. That was Sandy Joy Weston. What a fireball lady she was. She's a fitness expert, but she was the first female trainer for the Philadelphia Flyers, and she was on TV as the fitness guru up in, I think, Philadelphia for a long time. So she was a lot of fun. So anytime you want to get to a back episode, go to screwthecommute.com and then / and then the episode number, which was 538. Now, I'd love to send you big checks or gold bullion or silver or whatever you want for my affiliate program. So if you're interested in making commissions, you can make sometimes in excess of $5,000 for one referral, and lots of stuff anywhere down to 13 or 14 bucks. But just email me at tom@screwthecommute.com if you want details on that, and we'll talk to you about how best to approach people and what products make most sense for you to promote to your group. All right, pick up a copy of our automation ebook. This book has helped me handle up to 150,000 subscribers and 65,000 customers without pulling my hair out. So it shows you all the techniques I use and the technology that I use that takes care of stuff so that I can spend my time marketing, creating products, and taking care of customers. And that's where the money is. So check that out at screwthecommute.com/automate free. We sell it for $27, but it's yours free for listening to the show. While you're at it, pick up a copy of our podcast app at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP. You can put us on your cell phone and tablet and take us with you on the road. Now, we're still going strong in our scholarship program to help persons with disabilities. The stuff that I teach, internet and digital marketing, is perfect for people with disabilities, and it gets them off the welfare rolls, and it reduces the suicide rate, and the depression rate in that community is just unbelievable. That's one of the reasons I started this. So we can get them hired legitimately from home and let them start their own business if they want to, or both. So it's a really great program. We've got 3 people that are very inspiring going through it already, and I'm going to roll it out really big after I prove the concept and get them hired and in their own business. So check that out at imtcva.org. That's my school website. Of course, it'll be in the show notes, /disabilities. Check out the GoFundMe campaign and throw in anything you can afford. And if you're really flush with cash, you can sponsor a person yourself. And boy, what a thing that you could do to be really proud of yourself for the rest of your life, changing these people's lives. So check that out. And you can see their videos, the update videos at the GoFundMe account at that page at my school. All right, let's get to the main event. Dr. Steven Greene is a career educator and entrepreneur. He specializes in helping families, the family's children, to navigate their academic lives, and he supports entrepreneurs in their journey on the highway of success. He's a best-selling author of the book Maximum Education, and he likes to bicycle. And that's really crazy when I heard that about him. He's I think a competitive bicycle guy, and he loves tennis and cooking, and he loves being around friendly and people and cats. So Steven, are you ready to screw?
I'm ready to rumble.
The Commute.
I'm ready to rumble. Yeah.
How you doing, man?
I'm awesome, man. I was furiously taking notes to get involved in all the stuff you got going on. So,
I had
awesome.
a great time on your podcast called Make the Grade. And was that one of the cats squealing there, or what?
That was my phone. I forgot to mute. This is live. It's raw. We're just doing it. Now, you were. I mean, this is going to be a love fest for the first 2 minutes. Great guest, a great interview. It was really fun, and I was excited to sort of reciprocate and come back on yours. And and see what we can expand on. So the thing I like about you is you're such a you're giving, right? I mean, you're making a living, but you're doing it by helping people. And that's what I have prided myself on as well for a long time.
Yeah,
Is
that's the only
people
way to
first.
go. Help.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was given the strength to help others, and hey, you can make a good living at it and still help a lot of people. So I'm thrilled that we're on the same page there. Now I have a little advantage over you in that uh, you had to shovel snow this morning, and I
Yes, yeah,
didn't.
I did. I don't know if we want how interesting that is to anybody else, but
And I
yeah,
was
we
the
don't
one
get any.
late for the for the
Yeah,
interview.
that's true. I was ready. I was, I was saying, oh my gosh, I get changed or not. But yeah, voice only, it doesn't really matter. But I got bad hair day. I was wearing a hat while I was shoveling, and we don't get a lot of snow here, but when we do get it, it tends to be very heavy.
And where are you?
I'm in Philadelphia
Oh
because I heard you
yes, so
talking about
that's
the
where that
Flyers, and
lady was
yeah,
the first female trainer for the Flyers.
yep, yeah. But we don't get a ton of snow, even though we're in the Northeast. But when we do, it tends to be very wet. So it's hard. It's heavy. It's like heart attack snow, they call it, because you're heavy. You can't, it's hard to lift and throw
Mhm.
and whatever. So
Well, who cares if you sell digital stuff like us and
yeah,
products and teach people? We don't have. You can let
uh,
it go above your roof as long as you have enough
my,
food in
well,
the
that's
house.
true. That's true when you're sitting in your corporate headquarters all day. But now my wife had to go to work, so I had to dig her out from the
Oh,
driveway.
see,
I know.
there's the problem. You had a wife.
It's
See,
always a woman
I've
involved, Tom.
avoided that situation for
Yeah.
a long time. So tell everybody what you're doing now.
Well, as the bio, I think, concisely puts it, I have been an educator and an entrepreneur for almost 30 years. I cut my teeth in the kind of education system. I have a teaching certificate and a teaching degree. I went to grad school, actually got a doctorate in education. But really, what it's distilled down to is I have a business that does two things and helps two verticals. One are families with kids in school, middle school, high school, college, and the other division helps entrepreneurs. So I encapsulate it with what you were right at the end is helping them accelerate their journey on the path to success, which I don't define for anybody. I don't know what somebody else's measure of success is. It's financial for some. It's just getting through college for others. It's yeah, whatever it is for them. But it to me, it's about providing them with tools, with strategies, in some case with mindset. Sometimes it's a little bit of the details, how to do stuff. So it's kind of coaching, but I look at it more as kind of mentoring. I think of those two words as different.
So you're not
And
forcing them into this 4-year college debacle thing, right?
no, no, I'm not forcing it into anything. But I think what I try to foster is to give people as many options as they can, and to give people the tools to exercise those options. So, we I live in an area, and I think many people do, where the expectation is that a child grows up, they go to high school, they go to college, they get a job. It's kind of the American dream sort of thing. And I'm not opposed to that at all. But what I try to do is say, listen, in addition to all that, consider an entrepreneurial path, or consider a vocational path, or consider something that you can do for yourself. Take advantage of your own skills, and as opposed to what other people are just going to teach you. And let me be clear, I'm not anti college. I just think that people should understand that there's plenty of other things out there they can do that they may enjoy just as well, or maybe even more, and give them a lot more independence personally, and maybe financially as well. So
Well,
that
that's beautifully balanced, because
yeah.
I heard you say the American dream. I call it the American brainwash because
Oh, yeah.
I see
I was
you,
kind of using it in the 50s sort of
well, I know, but you
perspective,
have
but
to kind of go to middle of the road, but I don't, because
yeah,
I
all
got
right.
to have a
Thank you for
vocational
taking the
school.
bullet there.
Yeah, yeah, and they're turning out a bunch of wussies that can't do anything, can't cry at the drop of a hat, and got weird ideas and enormous debt. I mean, I
Well,
have a
that, yeah.
webinar about all the crazy classes they're doing. I mean, there is literally classes like underwater basket weaving, and there's a big demand for that skill. So how do you defend that? What's going on now? It was different than when we grew up and went to college and actually got,
You
somewhat
want to
of an
hear? I don't.
education.
Let me tell you an interesting story. I don't know if you know this or not, and cut me off if I'm going too long on it. Do you know why or where this whole reading, writing, and arithmetic thing came from?
No,
Let me
I
tell you.
know I
Let me tell
have
you.
good skills in all those areas, and I'm
Well,
glad I do.
let me tell you where this came from. It goes back to the company town concept. Okay. So let's sort of flash back to like the robber baron, like 1880s,
Hmm.
1870s, 1890s. And you got people like Rockefeller who've got these big oil companies or coal mines, and they need people to work in them. So what they did was they built towns around the factories, hence the company town. And people would basically work in the factory. They would get paid and they would have to shop at the company
Hmm.
store. So essentially, the money was never really leaving this
Right.
insular community. Well, what they also did was set up schools and they taught them just enough to be good workers in the factories. So they needed to read so they could read instructions to the factory, needed to write, and needed to do a little bit of math to get by. So this whole system founded by Rockefeller and Carnegie and Schwab and these like big, super millionaire, like antitrust, eventually kind of people. This is where this all came from. And it became ingrained in the kind of ethos of the curriculum of schools. Sure, everybody should need to read, everybody should need to write, everybody should need to do math, and things like this. And
Well,
it's never really.
excuse me, Stephen. Apparently not in Oregon, because the freaking stupid, highly educated idiot governor came out and said, "Okay, you don't have to know math or pass a test in reading or arithmetic to get your high school diploma." How do you defend that?
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think a
I
guy
mean,
like you would.
look, there's always, let me give a perspective. Our society, and I think you're going to agree with on this, is kind of built around the center. Like it's built around the average, the median kind of, right? And you got outliers on either end. So you've got kind of the people that are sleepwalking through their lives, right? They wake up, they
Hmm.
go to a job, they come home, they have dinner with their family, and they go to sleep, and they do it again for 46 years, and then they get the gold watch, kind of the Leave It to Beaver. What the heck was the guy's
Hmm.
name? Leave It to Beaver. Um, and of course that's stereotypical and it's dated. But
Ward was his name.
Ward, thank you,
Yeah.
Ward Cleaver. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But
But it's
wait,
dated.
hold on. I can't help it. The old saying is the dirtiest saying ever said on TV was from that show. It was,
Probably.
"Ward, you're being a little too hard on the beaver." All
Yes,
right,
well,
back to your story.
all right. So,
Bada boom, right?
but anyway, um, oh boy. So, but here's my point: is, and I'm not knocking any of this because I'm about helping people and about giving people options and opportunities. But there are a lot of people that are very happy with that. So, I guess if you can make it through life without having what would otherwise be considered requisite baseline skills, who am I or who is anybody else to scold you for that, right? And there's always the example, the guy who never graduated from fifth grade, that's a trillionaire. And then there's the guy who's got 4 PhDs, who's in the food line. But I think that to answer your question, I think the way it gets defensible, not that I'm defending it personally, is that we're training people to be in the middle. We're training the term in the 50s, and I hate referring back to it, was a company person, company man. And that's what they wanted. They wanted people that fell in line. They kind of did what was expected of them. They were happy doing it. They had a comfortable enough life and they were afraid of communists. So flash forward 50 years or 70 years, and we still have that kind of in the background, but there's so much more individuality that it kind of gets swallowed up. I don't think you notice it quite as much. But I think what you and I share is a vision that there can be a lot more than that, right? There's a whole world of being able to create your own products, your own services, create your own little universe where you can have a community of people that are interested in what you have to say or what you have to offer. You can support them and you can help them to become successful. That's, I think, without putting words in your mouth, the theme of Screw Your Commute, or at least one of them.
Yeah,
And
and
it's certain.
Stephen, I'm all for that, and I'm all for the person that just wants to, kind of go through life on an even keel and just get by. What I'm vehemently against, and I have that TV show, Anti-Fraud anti-scam TV show in development,
Mm-hmm.
is I believe that the administrators of colleges and universities would be in jail if they weren't universities and colleges. Now you can't. I get where you're coming from. You can't go along with that, but I can, because
At least not publicly.
the outrageous fees, the increase in fees compared to the cost of living is like I don't know, 8 times. The things, the tricks they're pulling with um, textbooks so that you can't resell them or buy them used unless you have some really insider connections to know where to find them. So they circumvented all these government regulations. So they would be in jail. They would be in jail. And then plus, they all teach people to be idiots, and to protest and never learn anything about how getting by in life. So that's my my push on it. But thank God I got somebody on here that at least sees both sides of the coin, and you can, this stuff you were just talking about. You actually have courses that help people actually get skills, right? Tell them about it.
I have within my business, Make the Grade, what I call my Entrepreneur Academy, and it's an auspicious sort of title, but that's what I like to call it. And I basically like to teach people skills that they can just put to use right away, creating their own content.
Wait, what kind of crazy idea is that?
I don't know. I woke up one day in the middle of the night, or one night in the middle of the night, and it's like, let me teach people things they can actually utilize.
My God,
immediately.
You're a genius. Jeez.
Thank you, Tom. So for example, I have a workshop called 7 Steps to Creating Your Own Course. And it is exactly what the title sounds like. It's a 7-step process. And in the end of it, they're going to end up either with a course or an ebook, an audiobook, whatever they want, that they can then market. And the purpose of marketing is very simple. They can either monetize it and or use it to build up their stature as a subject matter expert, and or use it just to build brand, or all three. And depending on how I run it, and I can do it one-on-one as well, but it's usually about a 4-week process, twice a week for 4 weeks. And then what I do is I say, look, let's amplify that. Then I was doing 6 and 6. I had a mastermind where we would make 6 of these in 6 months. So what it's spawned is a community of people who've created marketable products. And mind you, some of these they're selling for $10. These are not necessarily big ticket things, but it doesn't matter because it gives them an entrepreneurial spirit and it gives them a track record of some level of success. And then once people have success, they typically want more, and they want to grow, and they want to learn more, and they want to invest in themselves. I have another workshop called Take Your Business Virtual, which, contrary to popular belief, was not founded in the middle of the COVID shut-in. I've actually been teaching it about 4 years, but it blew up in terms of popularity then. But it really, what it addresses is the differences in how you have to do business and run a business in a virtual space compared to the conventional face-to-face sort of circumstance. They overlap. They're not mutually exclusive, but in the virtual space, there are some significant differences that I've been in that space for a long time, so I was able to convey to people. But these are just 2 of the things that I do for the entrepreneurs. On the student side, it's how to navigate the academic world. But what I try to do is intertwine life skills, time management, information management, communication skills, setting goals, having daily success plan, which I don't care if you're in 5th grade, 8th grade, 12th grade, college, or senior C-suite person, they're all valuable. So that's really what my book is all about, are those things.
Now, let me ask you.
This has been my mission. Yes.
Well, let me ask you, you've been doing this a long time, and you may not be able to answer candidly, all right? Because
okay.
I'm just so ragging on this whole arena. But how have the kids changed over the years you've been doing this?
Oh boy. I think
and I know you're not supposed to say things like worthless slugs.
No, I don't think it's that extreme. I think I think the biggest change when I started my business. Okay, let me put this in perspective. When I started my business, they didn't have websites. Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean, at least not everybody did. Like big business, like Microsoft had a website, right? There weren't cell phones, there weren't tablets, there weren't Chromebooks, there was barely even the internet. So there was a much greater dependency on actually knowing how to do research, knowing how to communicate, using a telephone, speaking to people.
Going to the library, reading.
Yeah, library. What's that?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm surprised they're
but
still around. I was very surprised. Libraries seem to be thriving. I guess a
but
lot of people go there to use
you
the
know what's
internet stuff.
interesting? The ones that are thriving are the ones that have morphed with the times and have become tech centers.
Mm-hmm.
We have a library in my township that's actually they got a huge grant from the county and the state to bring all these computers in, and they do a lot of classes on them, teaching you how to use them. So the ones that become sort of IT-ish, not IT like from the support stand side, but from the teaching stand side, have actually done quite well. Um, but I think the environment that students and people have to navigate has changed so radically in 30 years. And the biggest one is the present availability and expansion of the internet. Now, you could also throw into that the whole social media piece, which I'm not going to trash social media, but I think the presence of it has certainly affected how people interact. I think that's a fair statement most people aren't going to disagree with. So, I don't have any students, like, let's say I had a student I was supposed to see at 11 o'clock today.
Yeah,
In the
they'll be there at
past,
20 after.
well, no. What I'm saying is, in the past, let's just say I was supposed to see somebody at 11 o'clock and they got sick or they were running late. They would call me, hey, okay. Now, I haven't gotten a phone call from a student in 6 years. They text me, they chat on Instagram. I'm not on Snapchat. They probably would do it there. So this is how it's really morphed. So the biggest change I've seen in the education side is the utter reliance on technology, not just to teach and not just as a resource for information, but also as a way that a lot of students submit their work.
But people are promoting this. But what happens when your battery's dead? Are you just now skin and bones, and you just can't do anything for yourself? That's my problem with it.
That would be sort of the easy answer. I mean, look, I look at it this way. This is sort of the analogy I would make. Like, let's say you were hungry and you didn't have any electricity. You got to kind of figure out a way to eat, right? So instead of cooking the food, maybe you got to do something else. So in the biggest picture, we all have a survival ability, but it's not the greatest metaphor for trying to use technology. I just think that call it what you may, I don't know, Generation X. I don't know where all these terms begin and end, but I think the biggest change is just the ability for people to communicate clearly and to be able to interact effectively with other people. That doesn't mean nobody can. This is not an absolute, but I think that's what's been the biggest casualty of this kind of expansion of the whole tech world. Now, that said, there's pluses to it too, right? I mean, we're sitting here, I don't know, 300 miles apart. I don't know how far it is to Baltimore. Able to have a basically face-to-face conversation that anybody in the world can eventually listen to. We can both sell products remotely, without any intervention of us actually have to do it passively. So you kind of can't knock it and take advantage of it at the same time completely, right? So I appreciate the values that technology affords. I just wish sometimes that the communication piece of it wasn't so effective, or people didn't rely on it quite as much.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I have some kids that on Sundays I give them some work at the house here, and I go pick them up because they're 14, 15, 16 years old. And so I pick them up, and on the way, I always talk to kids, and I say, hey, we're going to be getting leaves around the pool. The deep end is 9 feet. How many yards is that? They can't tell me. I say, how many inches in a foot? 10? I mean, this is
close. They
yeah.
didn't say one.
Yeah, maybe he was thinking metric. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you thought I was talking about centimeters. But
Is that
to
the thing they
me,
use in Europe?
to me, that's child abuse to me, because the kid doesn't know the basics of life. I mean, it just drives me crazy. And I was talking to I had a millennial expert on here, and she's saying, well, I'm talking about being on time and how that's appreciated by older people. And she said, well, time to us is just, that's a variable thing as long as we get the job done. I said, well, what about a store owner that puts a sign on their door that says, okay, we're open at 10 if the people working here kind of feel like coming in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, and I got to tell you, any young people listening, you do a little bit and you'll pass up all your moron friends and get great things from guys like me who will promote the heck out of you. All right. So it doesn't take much nowadays to really stand out and be because like I said, the people with the money are usually older and they appreciate those kinds of things, but it just drives me crazy. So, thank God.
I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell.
No,
Tom.
I know. It's
Doesn't take much to get you fired up, but that's definitely one of the things on that pushes your buttons.
Absolutely, because
but you know what? See, I think you're not talking about as much, but I know you are also a solutions provider, right?
Absolutely.
And I think I look at myself. So we both see issues. We both see problems. We might see different ones, but we certainly see some that are overlapping. And I think one of the things I've spent a long time doing, years of my career doing, is try to be a solutions provider for people. But at that point, I could have the greatest courses in the world. I could be the best educator in the world. It doesn't necessarily mean people are going to listen. And even if they do attend, has this ever happened to you? Somebody buys your class, comes to the first lesson, and never shows up the next 9, or buys an online class.
Yes.
I have video-based, self-paced classes. They pay the money for it, $97, whatever, $79, and then they never even activate the class.
Yeah, there's plenty of shelf help people. We used to call them when they would buy a physical course and it never would get off the shelf. So yeah, we see that, but just think where you would be selling your great courses, and they are great, if the people couldn't read them or see.
Well, I do have some that are video when I'm speaking, so hopefully at least if they can understand. But
well, yeah,
I get your point though.
Yeah, except you probably don't talk in emojis.
No, not yet.
Yeah, I'm pretty fired up about that. But the book Maximum Education, where do they find that? And is it
Maximum Education?
or
no, there is a it's sold on Amazon, which I know you're a fan of.
I mean, physical or digital or both?
Both.
Okay.
There's a physical copy. You can go to Amazon and search Maximum Education, or you can go maximumeducation.net and it'll take you basically to a page that says how great the book is, and it gives a link to the Amazon site. There's a digital version. There's a Kindle version. It's priced to sell. It's only $10. Frankly, I don't make much on it. It's not about making money. It's about getting the info out. But that's how people could get it.
You gonna come out with the audio version pretty soon?
There is a video-based. There's actually 4 video courses based on the 4 major premises of the book: time management, information management,
all right, slow down
daily action plan,
time management, information management. What's the other one?
Daily action plan.
Daily action plan.
And success principles.
Success principles. So give us an example of just the one thing out of each of those sections.
The key to time management is prioritization. Ask yourself this question: I got an hour to get stuff done. What is the most important thing I need to accomplish? And then do it. Because it's right out of Think and Grow Rich.
I have a time management tip.
Go ahead.
See if you can figure out what it is. Half equals empty.
Half equals empty.
Yeah. So
if you don't do it all the way, it's as if you did nothing.
No, but good thought. Good try. No, if my gas tank hits half, I see that as empty.
Oh, interesting.
Because if you wait till it's almost empty and then you're desperate to get somewhere on time and you got to stop for gas, you're screwed. Yeah, so half equals empty.
I like both our analyses, actually. So that's time. Information management, that's a little more deep, but I would say there are many systems. I have like 8 in the book. Find one that works for you, whether it's flow charts, concept maps, outlines, to-do lists, or some hybridization of all of them. Get one that works and stick with it. Don't keep changing them. Okay. And secondly, you don't need to have it in 4 places. I know people have a to-do list on the computer, on their phone. in a notebook, on a pad, in a diary, and tattooed to their ankle.
That's a good one.
You only need one. Wherever works best for you.
Okay.
That's a time management thing too. Daily action plan is really just self-discipline. Is do what gets you the most progress. It overlaps. They all overlap, but any given day we got plenty of things to do. And yeah, kids would say to me, I don't know how I got an 80, a 75 on this biology test. I studied for 7 hours. Well, break down what you did in those 7 hours. Well, I read over my notes 17 times. Well, you only really need to do it once if you understood them. Or my entrepreneur people who, I've spent 4 hours in the office today. Awesome. What'd you do? Tell me about your time diary. Well, I check my email every 15 minutes because, I might get an important email coming in. Or they read the same email they're going to send 11 times before they send it. So, and then the general success tips is basically a list of 10, and I borrowed from other people, like Stephen Covey's of the world, thank you. Things that are just universally good advice. I don't take credit for most of them, but the key is really an awareness of what your strengths are, and awareness of what your weaknesses are. Play to your own strengths. Find ways to shield your weaknesses, whether it's delegation, whether it's just workarounds, and that's really what it kind of boils down to.
Okay, so what's your daily action plan? So what's a typical day look like for you?
Well, I like to exercise. So I wake up. I usually do some kind of exercising. I get up early. I'm up at like 5. So I'm usually, I kind of check my carryover from the day before. I'm usually exercising like 5:30 to about 7 plus or minus. I spend between 7 and lunch working on my entrepreneur side, and I either am working directly with people or developing coursework, and that can mean writing a book. When I say coursework, I use that generically to include creating videos, creating social posts, creating any sort of marketable product, things like that. And then after lunch, basically, I'm on the academic side, which is managing whatever my schedule is that day. Yesterday, I had 8 kids and 3 different classes I taught. So that's going to vary a little bit more. But in my world, my afternoons are much more structured. My mornings are the ones where I can flounder if I don't keep on track.
So do you do any kind of meditation or anything?
Yeah, but I'm not that consistent. I probably should be more so. I'm not real high
Yeah, I hear
strung,
people
but
doing it all the time. I don't really get it myself. I'm a self starter no matter what.
I
I'm like,
what I find, like I got like a exercise bike and one of these home bikes. I find, to me, that's kind of meditative. I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't listen to music. I kind of just get in a little zone because I'm trying to, like, ride 35, 40, 50 minutes. And sometimes it's like, I feel like getting off after 5.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
so that's sort of, I know it's not meditation, like sitting there with your legs folded and, om and all that. But to me, it kind of has the same effect. And, I like to swim too. Swimming, I find, is because there's nothing you can do. All you can do is stare at the bottom of the pool anyway. So I find things like that. Walking, I like actively kind of meditate, if that is an oxymoron, but kind of how I'm able to do it.
But see, I've got that bicycle thing you just mentioned down more efficiently. So if I'm supposed to get on for 55 minutes and I want to get off after 2, I just don't get on.
Save your
Much
2
more
minutes.
efficient.
Well, there you go. Yeah, you're right. You save 2 minutes of your life.
And
Yeah,
maybe when we have you on again, we'll talk. You were a competitive bicyclist, right?
I was for about, well, I still ride, but about 8-10 years, I was pretty hardcore.
Wow. So
The funny thing, whole
what's
time
that?
I was racing, I never fell. Skidded a few times, got bumps, handlebars bumped, wheels bumped, never fell once. And that's your biggest fear when you're riding that fast, 20, 26
Mhm.
miles an hour. I stopped doing that. I go out like this casual ride with like my wife and some of her friends along this little trail through Valley Forge Park, which is beautiful. Hit a stone and roll down a hill.
Well, at least somebody didn't jump up in front of you and cause a 40
No,
biker crash. Did you see that on TV?
yeah, it's nasty what happens
Oh
anymore.
my
But
God. So tell everybody how they get a hold of you and
make the
what kind of things
grade.net.
they could glean both
Yeah,
on the academic
there's a
and the entrepreneurial
ton of
side.
stuff on my website. I'm trying to kind of recatalog it so everything's in one place, but it's www.makethegrade.net. There's all kinds of ways to get a hold of me there, get onto lists, get content freebies, sign up to if you want to be on my podcast, if you're podcast worthy, like Tom was. And that's that. I'm a kind of direct guy. I got an email list, I've got all that stuff. But if you have a question for me, I make it pretty accessible. I say, like, set up a time. I got links on there to set up meetings with me. Let's set up a meeting or a Zoom, and let's talk business. Why go back and forth for 3 weeks on email when we can accomplish the same thing in 10 minutes in a conversation?
That's time management and info management.
There you
all
go.
Put together.
Daily action.
Yep.
Well, but it's true though, because especially if you work the social networks like LinkedIn, right? It's this whole like dating thing. It's like, hi, how you doing? Loved your profile. Oh, thanks. I liked yours too. Hey, I saw that you used to work for somebody. So, oh yeah, I did. And all you really want to do is see if there's some collaborative effort the two of you can have. But you spend 4 weeks trying to, and it's like the big ask, like, hey, can we set up a meeting? Like, oh my God.
Right.
It's like my fear of rejection. I was in high school. I wanted to have a meeting and somebody said no. And I've been traumatized ever since.
Well,
but
the two types of people that would come to you though is maybe a parent or a child, an older child.
Parent with a kid in middle school or high school. I have stuff for younger kids, but that's really my sweet spot.
Yeah.
Or an entrepreneur,
right?
Or a very small business, maybe like a 2-3 partner business. I'm not set up for like a corporation.
I don't. Big business people don't like me. Yeah. So, but this is great, Steven. So
yes,
I know you got to run. So thanks so much for coming on. I love giving you a hard time about the higher education non-system.
Oh, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah, it's just and you got to. I know.
See, you know what the counter argument
lawyer,
is.
Or something you got to go through the motions.
Well, this could be our next thing. Here's the counter argument you get from people. Show me a better system, right? I probably shouldn't end our discussion with that kind of comment, but that's the comment you get from people is, okay, it's not so great. It's like the SAT, right? Is there anybody in their right mind in the universe who's going to tell you the SAT has any direct bearing on how well somebody's going to do in college or ACT?
Not anybody with any brains. No.
Nobody, right? But yet the thing's been around since the GI Bill, and it's not going anywhere, even with all the COVID stuff going on and test optional, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, and that's always the counter argument. Yeah, it's not perfect, but what do we have better?
imtcva.org.
Yeah, makethegrade.net.
There you go.
There's the setup.
All right, good buddy. Talking to you.
This was great, Tom. Thank you very much for having me. And people, I'd love to get a hold of you or get a hold of me. Let's talk shop. Let's see how we can help each other.
There we go. All right, everybody. We'll catch y'all in the next episode. See you later.